This is my 2007 C6 Z06. And just about a week ago, I thought it was going to be totaled out. In this video, I'm going to go over my thoughts and feelings, what exactly happened to the car to cause the damage, why exactly I thought it was going to be totaled out. This right here is my dream car, my absolute pride and joy. Before I show you guys the damage, I'm going to cold start it and I'm going to move it away from the house, take it to a car wash and get it cleaned. So I just finished at the car wash, sitting nice and pretty and shiny. And this is my absolutely favorite spot for pictures, so it's a good time to show the damage in the rear here. As you can see, the bumper completely warped, the fender is cracked there, and a giant crack in the side marker and down. And the side marker is toast as well, it's just not on there anymore. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does a cracked fender total out a car? Well, initially I thought the car was going to be okay. When I first saw the damage, I pulled up, inspected it, and it doesn't seem anything's wrong. There's a scratch on the rim, but if you look underneath, everything looks perfectly normal. However, just a few days after the incident, it was at a shop, and the shop owner calls me up and says, hey, we're having trouble sitting it safely on the lift. And he is suspecting severe frame damage, which obviously broke my heart when I heard that. So just for a little bit of context, I had dropped it off at the shop, at my shop for just some routine maintenance. So the oil pressure sensor had gone out, so I scheduled that to be replaced. I also did an oil change. It was a little early, but I was like, why not? You gotta baby this thing. Did transmission fluid and diff fluid all at the same time. And so that maintenance was complete. The car is extremely healthy, not a single metal flake in any of the fluids, so that is good news. But that shop had called me about a day or two after, telling me about the frame damage or potential frame damage. Thankfully, it turns out it was just an issue with the lift at the shop, and that they just had trouble seating it because they had to put it on wooden blocks because the thing sits so low. My fault. But they had tried it on another lift, and turns out everything was okay. They thoroughly inspected it, and there is no frame damage. But honestly, even if there was frame damage, I wouldn't really be shocked. That doesn't seem like a huge hit, but that's all it takes with Corvettes sometimes. These things they're meant to go fast, not take a hit. So the car was just sitting in the parking lot, just sitting here like this, nose forward, and a truck had parked right next to it and attempted to pull out that way and around and clipped it with his guardrail, some kind of stepping rail, and it totally took a chunk out of the fender here. This is also completely deformed. So to just summarize the damage, the rear fender's got to be replaced and resprayed. This entire bumper is done for as well. New bumper, and that will be painted all blue. So this is actually painted black right now, done by a previous owner. It will be repainted all blue just to make things simple, and then blended into the door panel here, and then the scratch on the rim will be dealt with eventually. But all of that is going to cost around $6,000 to $7,000 just for that. That's the cost of having carbon fiber and fiberglass fenders. Is if there's any damage, man, replacing these things, especially since this is Z06, you got to get Z06, ZR1 wide body fenders right here, and those things are not cheap. So as I mentioned earlier, this car is my absolute pride and joy. So I was absolutely heartbroken at the thought of frame damage that would have totaled out this car. I've done a lot with this car, and we've definitely been through a lot together, safe to say. So just for a little bit of background, I bought this car in Seattle for $27,000 with 68,000 miles on it. It needed a little bit of work when I bought it, so it still kind of does, but mostly cosmetic. Mechanically, this car is now 100% sorted, and that was a long process. Nothing short of trauma bonding, I would say. So when I first got this car, it had metal in the oil because the bearings were starting to go. When this engine was built up, they still used the stock harmonic balancer, which ended up starting to go away. And if you know anything about LS cars, there is no LS car on planet Earth that has a stock harmonic balancer that is going to last you. It's not if the balancer is going to go, it's when. And so that stock harmonic balancer had started to go on this car, shaking the bearings loose, causing the copper concentrate in the oil, which is why I picked it up for so cheap, because so I could basically bring it back from the dead. So the engine is like new, you know, fresh bearings everywhere, cam bearings, crank bearings, all brand new with fresh oil change, of course, and some other routine maintenance and items that were broken. So I had a leak in the gasket, got new oil pan gasket, new hoses and everything around the dry sump system. So mechanically under the hood, this thing is completely sorted, and I highly doubt I will be having any issues in the near future. It's safe to say that this Corvette and I have been through quite a lot. I've done a lot of mods to it. So I've done the aftermarket exhaust that you hear. I have done the BC Racing DS series coilovers on it. I've absolutely slammed the thing, and some other interior upgrades like the head unit and the sound system. I installed an amplifier and subwoofer in the back there. So yeah, I've done a lot to this car. So now my thoughts on potentially having lost this car. I'll be honest, this would have hurt personally a lot more than it would have financially. You know, I'm absolutely in love with this car. It's my dream car, quite an elaborate story behind it. I would have been absolutely heartbroken if it was totaled out so unceremoniously in a parking lot just getting routine maintenance done. What I just wanted to briefly go over is my thoughts and feelings on it as I was basically coping with it. When something like this happens to you, something that you really love, your mind jumps to the absolute worst conclusion immediately. You know, when I got that call about the frame damage, I thought it was over. My mind immediately went to worst case scenario, and I was being nothing short of delusional about it. And the most valuable lesson I learned during this experience is realizing just how fast your mind goes to coping and being delusional. Looking back at the things I had said after I told my friends about it, I was taking this car for granted. I definitely was. I posted in the group chats, you know, oh, it's gonna be totaled. Oh, I'm gonna have to get another one. Oh, but why don't you just upgrade? Why don't you get a different car? And you know, I was definitely feeding into that. It's extremely fun to talk about my next car completely overshadowing the thing that you have right now. I was being ungrateful for it. After the accident had happened, I didn't even give myself a split second to start thinking clearly about it. My brain immediately jumped to the worst case scenario. I started to assume that the car was totaled, not because I knew it actually was, but because I felt like it was. And that feeling obviously completely overtook any logic in the situation. You know, I started to be very clear about how much the car actually meant to me. I let myself spiral down a very dangerous path of what do I do next? Instead of slowing down and logically thinking about the whole thing, my brain immediately jumps to replacement mode. How do I replace it as soon as possible? The biggest thing I caught myself doing was, instead of thinking, I was just nonstop coping. Everybody's asking, what's happening? What's the plan? What are you gonna do? And you know, as fun as it is to sit here and say, get another Z06. Oh, and you know, I even told people I would end up getting like a ZR1 or something, which I definitely could do, but is that the right decision? In retrospect, I think absolutely not. And all of that was really just me trying to plan my way out of a situation I didn't really even understand yet. And obviously, the more I talked about it, the more emotionally I got about it. You know, just doing a little bit of reflection, it's honestly scary to see that, you know, a situation like this, how quickly that can take over your mind and logic just gets thrown out the window. Thankfully, I finally just gave it time, and I let professionals look over the car, and after seeing the results, everything changed. You know, I had 2 shops inspect it. Is there any damage? And obviously the answer was no. Thankfully, the truth of the damage was a lot less dramatic than I had made up in my head. Once it was confirmed that there was no frame damage, mechanical damage, the car was completely healthy with no metals in any of the fluids, and the body damage, there was a concrete number to fix. It was going to be fixed. That moment really sank in when I realized that. The relief was extreme, but also I felt extremely embarrassed because I had realized just how far my assumptions of what happened had gone away from reality. I mean, literally nothing changed except the information I knew. The situation, you know, didn't magically fix itself. I just finally knew the truth. And that's when it really hit me. It's like my panic didn't come from reality. It was actually just the uncertainty that caused my emotional reaction to it. I definitely learned that not every scare requires an elaborate plan or new car. Sometimes the correct action is just to stop, chill, and gather the actual facts and real information of a situation. I definitely learned how much I actually love this car, and not just for the power, not for the attention, but for the story and the experience I've had with it. And those things are not replaceable. I could just go get another Z06 or a ZR1 or something crazy, but ultimately the story that I've had with this car is more meaningful than being delusional and buying a crazy upgrade just because of a minor fender crack. Sometimes the lesson isn't what you necessarily change or upgrade, it's sometimes what you don't. I've been thinking up ideas for videos and scripts and stuff for a while. When I first got this car, I always wanted to make some sort of debut video. I was hoping it was going to be a lot more lighthearted. So what do I plan to do next? I'm going to send this off to a body shop. Thankfully, the dude who hit me was very cooperative. He gave me his information and everything. So we're going to have that sorted out at the body shop. It will be replaced. And after it's replaced, I will make more lighthearted content, I would say, about the mods, about the actual car, on my other car, about my mountain races and stuff. I definitely have a lot of ideas and content planned for this car. I want to go into what it's like to own this thing, how to upgrade it, but mostly I'm excited to actually test out this build. So I just installed a racing bucket seat in there. Obviously it's on coilovers and very stiff and aggressive coilovers. About to put brand new tires on this thing as well. I just put on the TSB Stage 2 brake kit for this thing. I'm using stock calipers and stuff like that. I didn't think it was necessary right now to upgrade to ZR1 stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to express my thoughts, my lessons learned. It was definitely a scary experience overall. So I think that's it. Just wanted to record my thoughts, make my debut video. Obviously, it might be a little bit before I make more content with the Z06 because it's got to go to the body shop, but I really appreciate the watch if you made it this far. Yeah, I hope to make much more fun content than describing my emotional breakdown about losing my favorite car. So yeah, I'll see you guys around, and thanks for watching.